Hey guys, this is an explanation of how to use the LabQuest. The LabQuests are this real useful tool that we have, and it comes with different attachments or probes. I'm going to talk about three of those right now, three of the more common ones that we use. A colorimeter, temperature probe, basically a thermometer, and a pH probe. So the LabQuest comes with a power supply. Originally they had batteries in them, but they don't have batteries anymore. So to turn them on, we need to plug in the power supply and plug the power supply into an outlet. Once it comes on, we should get a screen that looks like this right here. And if you don't get that screen, it's okay. This is a touch screen, and it has a little pen for touching the screen right down here. So you just take that out, or use your finger if you want to. So let's say you saw something that looked like this. All you do is what you want is the icon, and all you do is just press it, and it'll take you to the screen that you need. And that's it. So now we're ready to go. Attach the probe that you're going to use. We'll start with the colorimeter. And these probes attach to the end right here. There's 3 ports. It doesn't matter which one. This clip right here, this goes in one way only, this way. And once you plug that one in, the screen will change. And now, because this is the colorimeter, it'll be reading absorbance. And you can play with the units and stuff like that, but it should be set up exactly the way we need it here. So for the colorimeter, the first thing we want to do is make sure that it's set to the proper wavelength. These colorimeters are simple spectrometers, and they only measure 4 different wavelengths: 430 nanometers, 470 nanometers, 565 nanometers, and 635 nanometers. Which lab you're doing will determine which wavelength you need. Let's say we need 470 nanometers. We just want to make sure that that green light is lit underneath whichever wavelength you're using. Once that's true, the first thing we need to do is calibrate it, zero it out. To do that, you're going to need a cuvette, and in that cuvette there should be, most of the time it's just going to be deionized water. Take a Kim wipe and always clean off the outside of the cuvette right before you put it into the colorimeter. Make sure there's no marks, no air bubbles either. If there's air bubbles, you need to get them out. Pop it right into there. Close the lid. And press the cal button, this button right here. Be careful, by the way, when you pick this up. If the lid is on the cuvette like mine is, it won't spill, but sometimes the lid's not on. We definitely do not want to spill anything inside of these colorimeters. So press the cal button right here, set it down. When that red light stops flashing, it's calibrated, and we don't have to do that anymore. So it's done. Open up the lid, take out the water, and now you're going to take whatever solution you're going to measure the absorbance of in another cuvette, clean off the outside with the Kim wipe, pop it into the colorimeter, close the lid, make sure you close the lid, and what you see on the screen here will be the absorbance of that solution. And so you just write that number down, every digit that you see there, and you're done. You've got the absorbance for that solution. Now, another probe that we use that's very useful is a temperature probe. It's just a thermometer. So if I take this probe out, I could leave it in. Actually, why don't we do that? Let's see how that works. And I can plug another probe in. If you're just measuring the temperature, you'll just have this probe. So we attach it the same way. And now I'm reading 2 different things on the screen. One is temperature, one is absorbance. And so this probe right here is measuring the temperature. Right now it's just room temperature. Whatever you want to measure the temperature of, just put it in. If you're holding it by hand, hold the plastic part up here. And like all thermometers, make sure that the tip is not touching the side or the bottom of the container. And you'll have the temperature. Easy as that. The third probe that we're going to talk about here is a pH probe. Now with this we have to be a little bit careful. It comes with a storage solution here. This is not deionized water, guys. This is a special solution for storing pH probes. If it spills, and they tend to spill a lot, don't worry about it, but just let either your instructor or Matt know, and we'll get the proper solution to put in there. What you do is let's leave it in there for the minute. We're going to plug the probe into the LabQuest. Again, I'm going to leave the other probes plugged in, but you might just have pH. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to plug this into the third port right there. And now I've got 3 readings. I've got pH here, temperature here, and absorbance down there. Oops. Well, I just touched the button, the home button, so that's easy to fix. I'll just do like I showed you. And go back to the graph that we want, right there. All right. Now with the pH probe, guys, to use it, you take it out of the storage solution by loosening this cap right here. And when you don't have to take it all the way off. When it's loose enough, the pH probe itself will come out. And set this aside somewhere where hopefully it doesn't spill. I tend to spill them a lot. Now, what you're going to want to do before you measure the pH of any solution with the pH probe is clean it off. So take a waste beaker, some deionized water, and rinse off the outside of the probe into the waste beaker. Also, the functional part of this probe is this little glass tip right inside of the plastic protector. You want to clean that off too. You also want to be very careful. Please don't break that. If you break it, then the probe's ruined. Commonly what happens is people are not looking and they set it into a beaker to measure the pH and they don't quite get it in, and hit the edge and it breaks. So just be careful of that. So we want to rinse that off on the outsides with deionized water. Take a Kim wipe and gently wipe down the outsides and gently pat dry as much as you can that little glass bulb. So now we're ready to measure the pH of whatever solution. Let's say we're going to measure water. We just take the pH probe, make sure that that glass tip is submersed, give it a second to stabilize, and you'll read the pH off of your LabQuest. That's all there is to that. So once you've finished using the pH probe to measure the pH of whatever solution you're measuring, please remember to put it back into the storage solution. So you just put it back into the jar, make sure it's submersed, and tighten this lid enough so that when you do, the pH probe won't come out and it doesn't spill. And you're done.